For most of my life, I really didn't know who I was. I knew how to adjust, I knew how to fit in, but actually being myself, well, that's something I've just been learning in the last 3 years. Hi, my name is Michelle. Welcome to the Freedom Habit. So, when I was younger, my father was in the military and we moved every 18 months. And it was usually in the middle of the school year. So every 18 months, I started over at a new school. New schools mean new people, and it's constantly starting over. And as a really shy, redheaded kid, I just wanted to blend in. So I learned how to read the room, figure out what worked, and became that. And the thing is when you do this over and over again, you get really good at adapting, but you don't always get the chance to fully become yourself. So when I was about 12, my father retired from the military and we moved to this small town. And it was a town where everyone had went to the same school together since kindergarten. And everyone knew each other. So moving there, it was hard to fit in. It was new for me. I was used to being around other children who were also used to being the new kid at school. So what I did was I just kind of sat back and watched to see how everyone else was and how I needed to fit in and what was appropriate and what wasn't. I adjusted myself, just trying to blend in. And if I'm being honest, I never really felt at home there. And the thing is, it wasn't even something I thought about at the time. It just became automatic. And when I look back now, I can see how it's affected my adulthood. For example, I've had many different jobs, different environments. I've been a receptionist, a factory worker, a prep cook, a title researcher, a book editor, a pharmacy tech, and a lot of things in between. And this might look like inconsistency on paper, but I see it differently now. I wasn't failing, I was figuring myself out, just not in a direct way. Instead of knowing who I was and choosing from that place, I was learning through the process of elimination. This doesn't feel like me. This doesn't fit. This isn't it either. Until eventually I started to get closer to something that does feel true. But there's also a pattern in that. When something stopped feeling aligned, I didn't always leave with clarity. Sometimes I disconnected, lost interest, or quietly sabotaged my way out. And now I understand why. I was used to changing, used to adjusting, used to becoming who I needed to be in the moment, but I never really learned how to root into who I actually am. And that's what I'm focused on now. I'm not just asking, like, what do I want, but who am I when I'm not trying to fit into anything? And this is new for me. So I look at it now and I'm not as confused about my past anymore. I used to think that having all of these different jobs was a kind of a failure, but I see it so much differently now. I see that because I never rooted into myself and became um, who I thought I was going to be because we moved so much and I was constantly adapting to the environment around me. Um, I noticed that, I would get jobs and I would self sabotage, I would leave, I would get bored. It was like the challenge was over. And I never really gave myself the opportunity to root myself in those jobs either. and I would self-sabotage and end up leaving the company. But I see now that what I was doing was just eliminating. It was a process of elimination to figure out who I really am. And a couple of those jobs I really enjoyed, like doing online researching for a title company. I enjoyed that immensely. And from there, I went to an oil and gas company where I actually went over to the courthouse. In the basement, they would have these huge books, and we would have to go back 50 years of property title ownership. And that was just interesting to me. So, I have learned some things about myself within these different jobs, which is a bonus. But now I'm spending time figuring out, who am I? Like, what do I like? What do I like? What do I not like? What's going on? Who is Michelle? And maybe you're going through that as well. Maybe things are changing in your life and you're thinking, I have stayed where I'm at for so long and I've never really been happy. And whether it's a relationship or a job or something else, and you're looking at it now and you're thinking, this isn't me, this is not who I want to be, then use it as a process of elimination to figure out exactly who you are and what your next step is. And I want you to know that you have a community here. We would like to build a collective consciousness and a community with that. And if that's something you're interested in, please like and subscribe to our channel. We would love to have you. So yeah, I hope I've given you something to think about, shared a little bit about my childhood and how it's affected me as an adult. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.